All right, the controversial movie Game Change airs tonight on HBO. It's about Sarah Palin's unexpected selection as John McCain's running mate during the 2008 presidential election.
Game Change is the latest in a long line of politically charged films.
You guys are about to write a story that says the former Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in this country, is a crook. Just be sure you're right.
Are you really saying that in certain situations, the president can decide whether it's in the best interests of the nation and then do something illegal?
I'm saying that when the president does it, that means it's not illegal.
We can get one democracy going in one of these places, Iran, Iraq. Believe me, Reagan was right. It's going to spread to all these countries.
Obama just changed the entire dynamic.
It is a change year, sir. We desperately need a game-changing pick.
I am honored to be chosen as your running mate. The women of America aren't finished yet, and we can shatter that glass ceiling once and for all.
And joining us now with their take on Game Change are film critics Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune and Dana Stevens from Slate.com. Good morning to you both. Looking forward to your thoughts on this.
Good morning.
Good to be here. Yeah, Michael, let's start with you. What'd you think?
You know, I was disappointed with Game Change. The same writer-director made the movie Recount, HBO did, about the Florida 2000 election. And that film had the benefit of not dealing with any politicians really on screen as major characters. It was all about the strategists and the whole chaos and mess of that election. And here you have the burden of good actors playing people we know very well. And I think in the end, Sarah Palin is marginalized in her own movie. This movie is much more about Woody Harrelson as the McCain strategist who's kind of pulling the strings on this one. And I think that's a mistake.
Would you agree, Dana, with that?
I disagree to some extent. I mean, this isn't a political movie on the level of All the President's Men or one of the things we were seeing in those clips. But if you followed the Sarah Palin, that whole experience closely at the time, I think you're going to really enjoy it. And Woody Harrelson kind of steals the movie as the strategist. I like that the focus is on him.
But is that right, though? Do you think that it's a movie that's really, should it be as much about him as it is?
To me, that gets it out of the biopic trap of just having to impersonate Sarah Palin at every moment. Although it does hit all those points. I can see Russia from my porch. You know, you're sort of waiting for all those moments to happen. So it's got that kind of unfolding. The suspense is already sort of killed by the fact that we know the whole story.
And not unexpected, this movie is not without controversy. Both McCain and Palin are saying that it's far from accurate. So are moviegoers only getting one side of the story in this?
You know, I'm surprised that they reacted so strongly to it, because I think it's actually surprisingly, I wouldn't say favorable, but surprisingly objective and portrays Sarah Palin actually, especially as a family woman, quite sympathetically.
Sympathetically on that front, but I think there's a lot of pity in the approach on this film, just like you got in maybe a film I actually liked a lot better, Oliver Stone's W, which is a film few people saw and responded to. But you know, you got a real person in there, but there's kind of a pitying tone to it. And I think that in that way, the right wing can kind of detect a left wing whiff of, you know, kind of patronization.
Dana, melodrama, behind the scenes melodrama.
Taking a step away from this one, what would you say is your favorite political movie?
Yeah, that's a really hard one to narrow down. I think I would go with Robert Altman's Nashville, just because it's a political movie that, unlike a movie like Game Change, isn't about just one campaign and one character. It's got real sweep and real scope, and it sort of looks at politics from a wide angle.
Michael?
Well, in the biopic vein, I really like The Queen, but as a political kind of genre overall, I love the paranoid thriller The Manchurian Candidate from 1962. I think that film,
the original,
that messes with the right wing, the left wing, everything in between, and I think that uses politics in a great way that really feeds a thriller that just holds up wonderfully.
And I'll second you on that one. I really enjoyed that as well. So your least favorite, we'll start with you first.
You know, we mentioned Oliver Stone earlier. I think Oliver Stone's Nixon is the kind of political biopic that frankly makes me nuts, because it's all about this kind of impressionistic portrait that really never gets inside what's going on with Nixon's head, and you're kind of stuck with good actors, including Anthony Hopkins, just kind of playing around in an impression. I didn't get much out of that film.
Dana?
I'm going with Oliver Stone, too. I didn't realize we were both picking Oliver Stone for our least favorite. Poor Oliver Stone. Although I did like W, too.
Yeah, I like W better.
I think he's mellowed in his old age, but that period that JFK came out is in the early 90s. I feel like it just took all the most preposterous conspiracy theories about Kennedy and just mangled them up into one big 3-hour headache-inducing sort of.
Oliver Stone, line one. All right. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. Michael Phillips, Dana Stevens.